The book that I read for my social issues project was a book that you probably have all heard of. It's a book that I've seen on the shelves for a while and finally decided to pick up and read. The book I'm talking about is called Percy Jackson and the Olympians: The Lightning Thief. For those who have read the book, you're probably starting to think how it could possibly be related to the social issues class. Well, I'm personally glad I went into this book looking for ways that it's related to the class because I was actually surprised to find it. Let's start out with the first topic: identity. Identity seems to be the one big thing that people are always looking for in themselves, whether it be in their appearance, the type of people they want, or just who they are. In this book, the main character named Percy Jackson is thrown into a world he never knew existed before. He thought he was just another normal kid with ADD, a kind mom, a stepdad who wanted nothing more to play poker, and just one good friend. But through this book, he will really find out much more than that. He will learn who his dad really is and just what he was really born to do. Now yes, I know this may sound like just another fairy tale story, but let's compare a few things. Me, for example. If I didn't know who my dad was, I would definitely want to try to find it out. Because, to me, my parents make up who I am, and who I am is my identity. If I found out that I was some half-god, I would be completely thrown off. I don't know who wouldn't be. Spoiler in this book, so if you don't want to hear it, turn this off. And if my best friend told me he was really a goat thing called a styre, I would start wondering about the rest of my friends as well. So, a missing father, some completely different person than I thought I was, and a creature for a best friend. Yeah, I think this would have a big impact on my identity. So now let's move on to the next part that I think relates directly with the book: relationships. Relationships seem to be a big thing in every book, whether it be right in your face or kind of slipping by. Well, in this book, it's not so much of a relationship rather than just two kids who like each other. Now yeah, that seems to be normal in every book, but in this book, I found a pretty direct way it relates to real people. The main girl in the book, Annabeth, and the main guy in the book, Percy, seem to maybe have a crush on each other throughout the whole book. They are constantly bickering with each other, but as the reader, you know it's just playful. Annabeth is also big on calling Percy Seaweed Brain, and that reminded me of when a guy is mean to a girl to get her attention. So, even though it's not a huge relationship in the book, there is a presence of one forming. So those are the two subjects that I think really relate to social issues in this book. There may be only two, but I think they play a huge role. And it's not like they only show up once in the entire book. They are constantly there, and that's what I liked. So now I'd like to move on and share my top 5 favorite quotes from the book. And I will also say how they relate to actual teenagers today. My number 5 quote in this book is, "It's funny how humans can wrap their minds around things and fit them into their vision of reality." So, even though when this is said it's talking about how and why humans can't see or even know gods exist, it still seemed relevant to me. A lot of the time as a kid, or even anyone, we are constantly trying to see what we believe in almost everything. Some people actually base their lives off this. So that's why I liked this quote, because I felt that it directly related to people's lives. My number 4 quote in this book is, "Where's the glory in repeating what others have already done?" The reason I liked this quote is because I think that a lot of people don't really use it. I mean, I could be very wrong, but a lot of the time people seem to just want to play it safe and do what they're good at, not what's new and original. I even find myself doing this. This is one of the quotes that made me want to improve on the next time I do a project or a paper. My number 3 quote is, "If life is going to mean anything, I have to live it myself." The reason I chose this quote is because this is how everyone should be. If someone likes to sit inside all day in a closet with no friends but are at least happy, then they are living their life. If someone is always out with their friends, traveling, and also at home, well, if that's what they want, then they are too living their life. So, I think it doesn't matter what you do with your life as long as you're happy and you feel like you're living it. My number 2 quote was, "Go on with what your heart tells you, or you will lose all." I think that this is one of the most powerful quotes in the book, and I find it so true. The quote can relate to anything, whether it be identity, relationships, or any of the other social issues topics. That's why I chose to share, because if you don't do what your heart tells you, then you'll never be you. And my number 1 quote from this book was, "Deadlines just aren't real to me until I'm staring one in the face." I chose this quote because I think that everyone has felt this way before. Everyone has procrastinated in their life. I myself feel that I'm one of the biggest procrastinators ever, and I think that since this quote related to me personally, that's why I chose it as my number 1 quote. So those are my reasons behind why I chose The Lightning Thief for my social issues book. Sure, it may not have been the best choice, but I still think it covered plenty of social issues topics when all was said and done. I would recommend this book to anyone, and thanks for watching my presentation.